Chutes and Ladders, our favorite moments of Saturday night's main event. Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
Hey, so WWE decided to do a reboot of Saturday night's main event. We're both big fans. We decided to present to you our favorite moments. Instead of doing a traditional countdown, we're just going to do 3 of our favorite moments with an honorable mention. Give us your initial thoughts on this episode first, Des.
I am so excited. I'm glad they brought this back. I know they brought this back about 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and it didn't hit like they wanted to. So here's for going a third round. But, you know, just rewatching some of these old episodes from the 80s and 90s, the crowd is wild. And this is true wrestling. And it's just so much fun to go back and be nostalgic and look at our favorite guys. So this will be so much fun.
I 100% am with you. Other cool thing too is back in the day, I don't know about you, my parents would have never have let me order a $50 pay-per-view at the time. There were only 4 of them. Yeah, there were only 4 of them. Saturday Night Main Event, it was basically a supplement to that to a degree, and they kind of treat it like a PLE. It sounds like they're going to do the same thing now. So this is why I'm actually really excited about this. And apparently they're going to have future Saturday Night Main Events. So, you know, we potentially will have more of these episodes. But again, we're not doing a countdown per se. We're just going to go ahead and give you our memorable moments. What's an honorable mention that you had that maybe just made the cut?
I did the one with that started the feud between Warrior and Hulk Hogan when they were in a tag team and he accidentally clotheslined Hulk Hogan when he meant to do it. What was it with Mr. Perfect? And I think it was the Genius. And that's what started everything in their amazing matches and that Wrestlemania. So I mean, who doesn't love Warrior and Hogan in 1990?
Yeah, exactly.
What's yours?
So, funny enough, I remember watching every single Saturday Night Main Event because, again, it was basically a pay-per-view that was on free television. For whatever reason, what really stood out to me the most, obviously, the older Saturday Night Main Events. I mean, the ones honestly in like, was it 2007? I don't really remember much of. I remember there was a show, but not much. So when I think of old school, I think Demolition, I think of War Paint. So I have Ultimate Warrior and Legion of Doom versus Demolition, and that was just I was so close to putting that on as a memorable moment, but all that paint, they could have just called it the paint match.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. So all right, so what is your first memorable moment? And again, these aren't ranked from best to least or anything like that. These are just random moments that we have. So what's your first one?
You mentioned it. It's Demolition, and it's when they lost their titles to the Brain Busters. And this was huge because Demolition, some may not know this, they held the record for holding the tag titles for, I think it was 478 days. And then the New Day just broke that. So they held that for over a year. And they lost it to the Brainbusters. I mean, Tully and Arn Anderson. And they did a 2 out of 3 pinfall match. And it was the infamous, if you watch any of the shoot interviews, it's when Tully hits, I think it was Smash with that chair and completely knocks him out with Andre. It was complete chaos and a complete shock. And so good.
Okay. And I swear to you, Des and I have not seen each other's list. But hold on. I'm going to go from descending to ascending order. Because again, when I think of Saturday Night's Main Event, I think of just retro. So my number 3 moment. Wow. British Bulldog versus Shawn Michaels. When Shawn Michaels won the Intercontinental title. And I say this specifically because I do actually remember that being one of the last Saturday Night Main Events.
Mm-hmm.
And I also specifically remember Shawn Michaels at the time was known for being a tag team. He obviously spun away. Him beating British Bulldog and getting the IC strap just catapulted him into his Hall of Fame career. So that really, really stood out to me. In addition to that, he beat British Bulldog, who was also part of the British Bulldog tag team. So they
Mm-hmm.
basically kind of both elevated each other. So I thought that was really cool. So that actually was. I'm going from, again, descending to ascending order. That was 92. So that was actually my first memorable moment.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
a good pick.
All right. What's your second one?
Um, well, if I could make all of these about Randy Savage, I will, just because I love him so much and I don't get to talk about him that often. But it's his match against Bret Hart in 1987.
Oh.
And I mean, those two are just amazing. And I believe this is one of Randy Savage's and Bret Hart's best matches. Just technically, it was only about maybe 13, 14 minutes. But what was going on around the ring and in it, and he hurt his ankle and he, fought Bret on one leg. And then what's crazy is it wasn't a big finish. It was just a suplex into a cradle, into a pin. And bam, my man wins. And all is well in the world.
Absolutely. Well, funny. I actually was very close to making this one of my moments. The only reason why it missed is because Bret Hart wasn't elevated at the time. But I mean, again, I don't remember if Bret Hart and Randy Savage ever fought again, whether it was WCW when they were both there. I think that was like a one and only time. So this was a very special match.
I think they did in WCW, or at least they went head to head.
Okay, gotcha. Because I don't like that's so when I actually came across that on the list, I was like, whoa, I completely forgot about that. And to your point, they're very just solid technical wrestlers. So I was very close to putting that, but I didn't. My second memorable moment actually happened in 1989, Demolition versus Brainbusters. So I was ironically, I thought you were going to have Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog. So the fact that you had that, this was the one that we kind of had the same. I'm actually a little surprised. The reason why this stood out to me is because this was the first 2 out of 3 falls match I've ever watched. Mm-hmm. And I honestly thought that it was going to go 1-1-1. I remember Demolition won the first one, and then Brainbusters won the second. And then the third one, I honestly thought that Demolition was going to win and all would be well, but it's not. And it's interesting about that is Arn Anderson was a staple in WCW. So for him to jump over, and Tully Blanchard for that matter. So for them to jump over, I think that was important for them to kind of hold those titles. But yeah, to your point of, holding the record and everything like that, that's definitely impressive. And Demolition will go down as one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Agreed.
All right. What's your third memorable moment?
I'm going to be so predictable. Okay. And you may already know what's on here. I don't know. You may not. But a lot of great things happened in 1987. I was born. And you know what else was born? The Mega Powers. And this was huge. I still go back and watch all of the promos, all of the matches, and this was amazing. With Randy Savage getting beat up by Honky Tonk Man, Elizabeth runs out and goes to get Hulk Hogan and helps, and they defeat them, and then they decide to team up, and they do the handshake. And I catch myself sometimes when I go to shake someone's hand, I want to do the Randy Savage handshake.
Love it.
It's just so good. I love them. And I mean, Randy Savage is the best. So, duh, of course.
Fair enough. Okay, my last memorable moment. Okay, I got to be honest. I'm a little surprised that this was not on your list. It's Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Andre the Giant, rather. So on back in 1988, and Andre the Giant won. So this was a television change on a non-pay-per-view event. I mean, even though it was the PLE, I guess if you want to call it that, but yeah, I thought that was very significant. As a kid, like most kids, I'm sure a lot of us were heartbroken that Hogan lost the title. That obviously he sold with DiBiase, and then that led to the tournament again, and how Randy Savage captured his title. But yeah, a lot of really cool storylines kind of happened with that. So I definitely remember this match. I remember being crushed at the time. But yeah, this was such a huge memorable moment.
That was huge, especially with Andre. But no, I didn't put him on there just because there were so many of Randy Savage, and I had to be selfish. So that's why. But that is an awesome pick. And what I think is crazy is a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these big TV moments and these big narratives started on Saturday night main event, and no one really thinks about it. I'm like, this is a huge deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and a couple of closing thoughts. So obviously this is going to be on, network television. This obviously this was part of the decision to kind of bring this back, if I had to guess. Now, that being said, do you kind of feel that they're going to treat this like a PLE? Do you kind of hold it to the same standard? Or are you going to kind of just think of it as somewhere in between, like a Raw or SmackDown and a PLE?
I hope it's more elevated than an actual weekly show. I would hope that, granted, it's not going to be a Mania or a Rumble or anything like that, but I would hope that they would push, I guess, the semi-major matches that would lead to a big title match or something along those lines. So hopefully it'll be a more elevated version.
Yeah, and I'm with you. My only kind of reservation about that is just the fact that they're really not building it up as much because they don't have the time. So if they want to treat it like a PLE, you have to give weeks of just weekly television to kind of build up storylines and angles, and they didn't really do that. So maybe this is more of a beta test.
Yeah, it could be like a nostalgic thing just to try it out. Maybe if they do this monthly.
Yeah.
Maybe not every Saturday.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm excited.
Same here. Oh, right. That wraps up this episode. Stroll down memory lane with us. What are your greatest moments of Saturday night's main event? Please DM us at the Chutes and Ladders. Like always, please like, share, and subscribe both on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
All right. Until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week.
Bye, friends.